Long. So give me a second. I want to make sure if someone hops on here before I get to my own page, if you can just tell me, I want to make sure that you can hear me. I'm Reese. I'm streaming to a couple of different platforms, and so I have to have my audio set up in each one, or it won't work right. Okay, I can hear my dog trying to come in. Let me go to my page. Um, We won't do this every week. I just want to make sure. Perfect. I can hear myself. Okay. Yay. Let me just say that a little louder. So, you guys, I haven't been live for a hot minute. And it took me most of the day to get all my stuff set back up again. You wouldn't think it takes that much engineering feat, but I told Cody, I said, I just like delivering the content. I don't like doing all of the technology type stuff. So, um, hopefully it's all set up to go. Also, remember for those of you that have been on here before, a couple of things. Because I am streaming to multiple platforms, depending on which platform you're on. Sometimes when you type something in the chat, I can see your name, and sometimes I can't. It'll just tell me that you're like a YouTube user or a Facebook user. So just know that I love you if I don't respond by your name. So I'm really excited. I have some really awesome things that I'm going to share with you today, but we have to bring it in Amy style. So for those of you that have been following me from the very beginning, you know that I'm totally into socks. So we have to start, socks make your day. I'm going to try to show you my socks. Sheepies. There's the dog hair. There's sheepy socks. And the first rule of Sock Club is your socks never have to match your PJ pants. That's the first rule of Sock Club. So don't ever worry about having to match the socks with the PJ pants. You just go with it. Also, mugs. Mugs are important before we get started. And so, hi, Jan. Yay. Thank you. Love you too. Sending you lots of hugs. And so I also have my mug. It says I'm his witch, which I think is very perfect for this setting. Okay, so let's get started. What we're going to do is my lives are going to consist of me sharing something with you that everyone can use. I am huge into energy work, which is really interesting to me because I have a background, a master's degree in education. And so I'm really big on data. And if there's not data, it just doesn't align with my brain. So you'll see that I go into the depths of finding educational resources that prove that this stuff that I do is life changing. I mean, I see it with my clients, and my clients are testimony of it, but I'm such a huge advocate on you got to get your cognitive mind aligned with your subconscious. Like your cognitive mind gets in the way of everything. I was on a post today in one of the energy groups, and someone asked a question, and I said, that's just your cognitive mind getting in the way. So when we have to make sense of everything, we get ourselves into these really squished boxes. And so we're actually going to see some of that today. After I go through changing your perspective around boundaries, I'm going to show you a little demonstration of the ELV method. So the ELV method is a baby that was born from all of the different energy methodologies that I've studied. So, human design, emotion code, body code, now belief code has been added to that. Also, being a hypnotherapist and just me diving into the realms of energy work and putting it all together and showing. So whoever just said hi, it just tells me that you're a Facebook user. So I can't personally say hi back to you, but I'll see you after. Um, so it's this methodology that I created, and then after creating it, I developed a process so that you can actually take a course to learn how to do this. So um, I'm gonna show you at the end of this. For those of you that want to hang on, I'll show you a little mini demonstration of how I use ELV and how we're actually going to release some things that people get stuck. So, sure, I can teach you about changing your perspective and boundaries, right? But we have so much conditioning from when we grow up, school, our parents, things that we watch on TV, things that I mean, every moment of your day literally is filled with conditioning. And so there's ways to get into the subconscious realm to release those things because they can really get stuck. And the problem is that when you have something going on, so say you're really stressed out, you have a trauma, something happened clear back when you were like 2 years old, okay? And you don't remember it, but your subconscious remembers everything. Cool study where a bunch of people were sitting, or two people go and sit in a center table at a restaurant, okay? And there's all these people around them. And the people are having a full blown conversations, right? Like, when you're sitting at a restaurant and everyone's chatting and there's lots going on, but you're focused on the person in front of you. So, unless you're like me and you're just super intrigued by everyone else, you're focused on the conversation right in front of you. Well, they've actually hypnotized the people sitting like in the center table, and they are able to pull out every single conversation that's going on in that room. Your subconscious is hearing it. That's a lot, right? That's a lot of stuff for your subconscious to process. Your cognitive mind can only process little chunks, like 7 little chunks of things, but your subconscious is processing everything. So right now, everything that's going on in my house outside of my office, my dog squeaking a toy, my subconscious is processing it, right? So that's why a lot of times we have stuff going on. We're not even cognitively aware of it, but it can really be creating like problems. And when we get those little emotions or a vibration from a fan or some thing that's going on externally, even things like ley lines. So think about spaces. Everything is energy, measurable. Everything is measurable energy. The microphone I'm talking into is measurable energy. The cup that I have is measurable energy. They all have a measurement, and those energies affect us. And so those effects, when we get crossing I was talking about a ley line. So a ley line, let's say that like outside of my beautiful office window, let's say at some point there was just like this traumatic thing where a bunch of people were going through some kind of horrifying trauma. Maybe, the winter came and people were starving. So the energies from that event can be trapped into a space because they get absorbed into the soil, into the ground, into what we call ley lines. Okay. So let's say that's the case. Let's say just hypothetically that every time I happen to walk out into this certain specific spot in my driveway, I just feel anxiety and I feel overwhelmed and I feel lots of sorrow. And I don't know why. Right? Ever have those moments where you just wake up and you're like, I don't know what's going on, but I start to pinpoint it. Well, I went to Walmart earlier. So I'm absorbing like a sponge. Like a lot of you are emps and you have this empathetic qualities that you don't know about. You're just absorbing the energies from people around you. We absorb and give off energies to other people. So I'm actually going to do this really awesome. I've started recording about. I'm going to do the 12 laws of universal energy on my YouTube channel so you can understand. We focus so much on like physical laws of gravity and, what goes up must come down. But when you really dive into, right, it happens to so many of us. When you really dive into the laws of universal energy and how they work, I'm telling you, it is an absolute life changer. If we taught that in school, we taught our kids about the laws of universal energy and how they work, we would be so much nicer to each other. I know it's like, it feels in the moment that it's so great to like get revenge or get, when you have like resentment against someone, like it feels really good to be like, haha, I have the upper hand and I got you. But in the reality of it is, when you understand the energy that you're pulling back to yourself from doing that, it's not worth it. Like it seems so cool if you realize, in the moment that, oh, haha, Jennifer did me wrong and she got a flat tire on the way to work this morning. Jennifer, you earned that flat tire. Like it feels good in the moment, but you really have to take a step back and let karma be karma. And you don't need to be involved in that. And when you kind of release that, like chain that energy cord to that desire to like make things happen for other people that have done you wrong, it's very much a release and it's brings you to a very peaceful state. You just let people will dig their own holes, right? They get what they deserve on their own. You don't need to be part of that. So I have attention deficit disorder and I talk really quickly. And so now we're off into a tangent, but let's bring it back. So we're going to talk about changing your perspective and boundaries. Here's the cool thing. I made this document earlier today. So guess what? If you message me or email me at amy@blockedemotions.com, I will send you the PDF file of this. So you don't have to worry about taking notes. You can reference back to it. Um, as I've been taking a little bit of a break, which by the way, was because I was manifesting, my life went through, we go through bumps. I went through a divorce. I went through like a whole total shift in life and a change in my career. And so, I manifested my amazing, cute man into my life as well. And so it's been us getting all that settled. And is it just, can I say, like, I don't want to get emotional, but can I say my purpose and passion is helping other people? And I can't do that without having a partner that's like super supportive and really into helping, because it takes so much. Like, you wouldn't know unless you've done it how many hours it took to just put my live together and put this PDF file together. Like, it takes a hot minute, right? It just doesn't like magically appear, I wish. So, hello. Hi, Erica. I can see Jan and I can see Kim. Like I said, it depends on where you pop in on and when you comment if I can see your name. But I just want to tell you guys, thank you so much for hopping on, because I go live for you, not for me. Like, I don't need to see myself live. I don't need to talk to myself about this, but I do it for you. So I love it when you say hello. Okay, so back to this. So I haven't been just sitting idly doing nothing while I've been piecing my own life back together. So I'm a huge advocate of, right, you got to practice what you preach. And so I've been working really a lot on doing my client sessions. So doing personal client sessions with everyone. And now I'm so ready to jump back into doing my lives, and I have courses and all kinds of cool stuff. So we're just like hopping back into it now that I have like amazing support again. And I love you. Thank you, Jan. Okay. So here we go. So let's dive into change your perspective around boundaries. And like I said, this is available as a PDF file so you can have it yourself, and we're just going to zip through it. And then I'm going to do a little mini client session for you. And yes, you can get in on these. I pre-selected this person because I wanted someone that was having some issues with changing perspective around boundaries in the holidays. So I'm going to show you how we can get rid of some of the underlying negative core beliefs that we have. And I'm taking my socks off because my office gets really hot with the door shut. But if we don't, Pepper Bean, who you've been watching, she'll come busting in here with all her love and affection. All right, so we'll do a mini elf session when we're done with this. Okay, so let's dive into, and I have this over here. So change your perspective around boundaries. So I have 10 different things we're gonna like breeze over, and then I thought you and your friend were doing gymnastics stuff again. Fantastic. I love those comments. Okay, so changing your, I mean, I can tell you that I am very good at doing gymnastics off of backflips off of my recliner. So just not for this one. All right, so change your perspective around boundaries. So perception shift. Maintaining limits and breaking free from this conditioned negativity that's holding and keeping boundaries. So the the perception is that we're taught that like keeping boundaries are like it's a negative thing, right? Like, oh, if I create this boundary, like it's selfish and I'm being mean to everyone. Um I had this happen like yesterday. I don't know why I do this, because every time I see I'm not going to do it again, but I decided to sell something on Facebook Marketplace. And if for some reason you happen to be or you run across this, just know I hold no resentment against you, person. It just was very annoying to me. And I have a boundary. And one of my big boundaries is I don't let people into my home. It's very energetically disruptive to me to let people into my house. Um, when your first live started, I was smashing a huge roach with my left hand and it was okay progress for my strange mind. Guess what? We're doing cockroach, roach on a no, roach something instead of elf on a shelf. We have a little plastic cockroach that Cody is moving around the house and I'm videotaping it instead of elf on a shelf because we do what we want to do. We're literally like 2 5-year-olds. I also have a video of Pepper jumping over like an obstacle course that Cody made that I need to post. But yes, so anyways. Okay. So perception shift because we're taught that boundaries are horrible. So that's the first thing. Okay. And I'm going to show you when we do the elf session here in a minute how those things get stuck and how we can release some of those because I can tell you all 10 of these and it's going to help get your cognitive mind in alignment. But there's like a subconscious aspect of it that sometimes I'm not saying that you can't, but sometimes it's really hard to get past the subconscious aspect. So I like to think about this. Your life is in really grandeur balance and you're not a raging maniac, which I will tell you for those of you that started with me, I do not have real roaches. I don't know. Mine's just plastic. Um, but if you watch me from the beginning, you will know that I used to be a raging maniac on Facebook. I would go live and call out my family, and I would call out my neighbors. I would call out everyone that I ever thought had done me wrong. I would call out people that commented on my page. If you said something that I didn't like, I would just rage. And as much as I have this like amazing ability to be really super sarcastic, guess what? Self-reflection, now that I have gotten into the field that I'm in, that was me being an unhealed angry person. Calling out other people for doing wrong is actually not a positive energy shift. So, guilty as charged. I used to do it all the time. And so we've come a long way. So, first thing is shifting perception, right? Shifting perception is really important. And sometimes it takes a little bit of a lot of effort, actually, a lot of effort to self reflect and be like, wow, you know what? I was the one really that was struggling. I'm calling people out on things. It's actually not really any of my business what you're doing. Um, unless you're actually standing out like on my front porch banging through the door, then um it really isn't. So going back to this perception shift, I told you I have attention deficit disorder and I get all, like dog with a shiny ball. So um perception shift, I was selling something on Facebook. Person came to my house, wanted to not buy the whole group of stuff I was selling, right? Like they were going to take the whole thing. So I just had it in like a nice little box and I was just going to like open the door and hand it to them and they wanted to go through it. And instead of taking all like 200 and something as that I had, they just wanted 30 of them. So they showed up at my house with another person. So here they are on the doorstep and now they just want to like sort through it. Well, these are things that would need to be like dumped out on a table. It's cold outside right now and snowy here where I am. So couldn't just like go out on the picnic table and let her go through all of them. And so I had to say, this wasn't our agreement. You wanted all of them. And I'm sorry, but I don't have the time. I was also doing a client session. I don't have the time for you to pick through 30 of them that you want out of the 280. And I said, I'm really sorry. I just hope you understand like my frustration. She also didn't show up on the day that she said she would. So I was making like all these accommodations, right? So to other people, that boundary looks like I'm being a total, what. But the thing of it is that no, the reality of it is the person was disrespecting my time and wanted to come into my home. And I don't allow people into my house that I don't know. I barely allow people into my house that I do know. I barely allow the people that live here into the house. So let's be serious. So, perception shift. Keeping boundaries doesn't make you mean or evil. It's just that that's what we've been taught. Being black and white um, comes across sometimes to people as I'm being very brassy, but the reality of it is that's your perception. I'm actually very clear and concise with my boundaries. Like, what they are. And we're going to talk about that in a second. So, number one, perception shift. Two, establishing respect. Once again, if you're just hopping on, if you email me at amy@blockedemotions.com or send me a message, I will send this beautiful PDF file to you. Okay. Establishing respect. When I set boundaries, I'm teaching you how I want to be treated. So it's an act of kindness towards myself, which goes back to that perception, right? We're really bad at being kind to ourselves. We're like, honestly, we're really bad at it. And so it's an act of kindness towards myself because it fosters healthier, more authentic relationships. I'm not being fake with you and you're not being fake with me because it's a really great way to filter people out as well, right? Also, it's like a strainer. Let's go to this one, guilt as a feeling, not a fact. Oh, how many people? It's the holidays. How many of you feel guilty because you're just going to so and so's house because I'll feel really guilty if I don't? I will tell you what, this one can be really painful. And that's actually one of the points. And so we'll go into that in a second. But guilt often, I wouldn't say often, probably all the time, accompanies boundary setting. But it's important to realize that guilt is a feeling. Guilt is a feeling, not a fact. Guilt is actually something that when we see the ELV method in a minute, you can see that is an emotion that can be released because it gets trapped. We have guilt and we don't process it. So let's say that I have some guilt from, not keeping a boundary because I want to make my mom happy. And so I have this like little ball of energy that's like getting all ickish, right? And then let's say like I fell down the steps, really happened when I was like 13 and I bent my ankle, like I folded my ankle over, right? So now my ankle has like this weak spot. So anytime I get really stressed out, guess where those emotions tend to go? Or suddenly I have like a really stressful trauma. Guess what? My refrigerator breaks. Why in the heck is my ankle start hurting? Why do I suddenly have a kink in the back of my neck? And I don't really know why. We blame it on things like, oh, I slept weird or oh, this happened. But guess what? Those are the places in your body that are storing these emotions that you're not processing correctly. Okay. All right. So guilt. Guilt is a feeling, not a fact. And boundaries as protection. If you need to, which I highly recommend because we start watching me and we start diving into manifesting things when people are like, oh, I manifest things. That's me being frustrated. You don't manifest things by sitting in your today I'm going to get a better job. Today I'm going to get a better job. That's like a tiny little part of it, but it's not really the full way that you do it. Okay. Honestly, where is it? Oh, this little notebook has a section in it, which I will show you if I can find it really quickly, which is so cool. I laughed because there was a point in time where I told Cody that I had this paper and now I got to find it. Seriously, if you want to manifest something, you have to imagine it. That's why boundaries is protection. You think of boundaries as a fence around your garden. You can think of it as anything you want. The thing of is getting your intuitive imagination. Let me say that again. Imagination is the key to your intuition. So if you want to manifest something, you cannot do it unless you have visualized yourself in it. That is how your cognitive and subconscious alignment works. So, see, this is like the manifestation. You don't need to see it clearly, but June 2022. Kind, honest, confident, military is a bonus. Likes horsepower and trucks, motivated hobbies, dirt bikes, gun, fishing, loves water. You ready for this? Loves me, but lets me run my show. Makes me laugh, smile, has dark hair and dark eyes. Guess what? I read that to his neighbor lady one day, and she was like, that is exactly who he is. So I'm telling you, but imagine it. So if you really want to manifest something, you have to do it to the taste. Taste it, smell it, hear it, feel it. Now, another key, this is a whole nother video, but there's a difference between imagining yourself in the spot. Like, let's say I want to be a speaker. If I go into this space where I'm like imagining myself, I can feel the air touching my skin. I can see the lights. I can see the people. I want to actually do it as a secondary person watching myself because I don't want my subconscious to actually align with it's actually happened already. So if I put myself in my own body and I'm watching from my own eyes out into the audience, that's different than if I'm standing off to the side. So if I really want to manifest speaking to large groups of people, I want to visualize myself on the side of the stage watching what it would look like because I don't want my subconscious to be like, oh, she's already doing it. If I'm looking at it through my own eyes, that's a whole nother life, but so cool. You just got to know how to do it. Okay. Here we go. 5, not responsible for reactions. Oh, how many of you do that? Me, 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 me. You're not responsible for how others react to your boundaries. Honestly, you're not responsible for how someone reacts if you slap them in the face. You're responsible for slapping someone in the face, but when you really align with the fact that their response to you slapping them in the face is on them, not you. I'm not saying they won't hit you back. I mean, there's that possibility, right? People have a really hard time getting with this one because it puts you in cause for every situation. Someone can um violate me, but I still have the ability to react a certain way. I still have the ability to, like, let's say someone's abusing me. This is a really hard one, right? I'll admit it. Like, even when I was living with someone that wasn't treating me right, it was still my choice to stay there. It doesn't mean that um it was great and I was enjoying it. No, but I still had a choice, right? You have a choice in every situation. May not always be the best, but you always have a choice. The point of it is being at cause instead of living at effect is the key. So when you live at cause for what's going on around you, you take total control over everything. Okay? So be responsible. Also, I always say this, be responsible for the energy you bring, right? Maybe you're being the one bringing the crap energy into the situation. So be responsible. So you're not responsible for how others react to your boundaries. The responsibility does rely in you communicating those boundaries respectfully. Okay. Key, key. Those who genuinely care about you will respect your boundaries. Oh, I'm going to say that again. Those who genuinely care about you will respect your boundaries. We're going to get into Fantasyville here in a second on one of these. Okay, embracing discomfort. Guess what? Sometimes it doesn't feel good to keep boundaries. Sometimes it hurts, actually. Hella hurts a lot. It's worth it. Embrace the discomfort of setting boundaries. Imagine it for yourself. It's this transformative journey toward owning your worth and living authentically, okay? It's not about just being a jerk and shutting everyone out. It's about defining your space for growth and well-being, okay? So recognizing discomfort, and I love, is this where I put this? Yes, I love this one, okay. Recognizing the discomfort often comes from connecting with the idealization, this idolized notion of, are you ready? Relationships that may not truly uplift our well-being. How many of you are like, but it's my family? It's my family. That is the biggest fantasy that is ingrained into your inner child because we are so taught that our moms and our dads and our siblings, they should always love us and they should be the ones that support us, right? How many times have you heard a toxic phrase of family means everything? Family is always there for me. Okay, these are things that get trapped into your subconscious. We call them negative core beliefs, toxic phrases. You listen to them, you see them in movies, and then you have it in your head that something must be wrong with you because your family isn't loving you. No, 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 no. Okay. When you go and you make connections with people outside, coworkers, friends, maybe you're in school, do you choose the people that you're in relationships with? Or do you have people choose them for you? I will say this, and I will die on this hill. Your family, you didn't select them. So I don't know why you would expect that you're just going to get along with all of them. Okay. And there's nothing wrong with it. You don't have to be a jerk to them. You can be respectful of people. Goes back to the laws of energy. Be respectful of people, but you don't have to have a kumbaya. Okay. You know what my holidays look like? A bunch of introverted people hanging out in my home being really happy because everyone that is here are people that we choose to be with. I don't have people over just for the sake of having people over. I don't go to people's houses anymore just for the sake of going to people's houses. Did that once on Easter a little bit ago. And guess what? I was like, all I'm doing is listening to people gossip about each other. One person leaves the room and goes outside, and the other person starts talking about them. That is not a healthy place for me to be. Okay. Embracing discomfort because guess what? It sucks. Feeling like your family doesn't like you sucks. But guess what? You'll get over it. You'll get over it and you'll start replacing those relationships when you realize the perception of it really is they're not helping you out. Okay. Now, if you have, don't get me wrong, if you have one of those beautiful families that's the fantasy family, bless be, I love that for you. Okay. But if you don't, it's okay. Time is precious. Time is a resource, guys. Time is a very limited resource. I don't know about you, but I feel like I have about 7 million trillion things going on. My day starts at 5 a.m. Thank goodness I have someone that allows me to go to bed at 9. But literally, between the hours of 5 a.m. and 9 p.m., I cannot squish something else in if I want to. I'm running a full time business. I'm a landlord for 4 rentals. I have a corporate career. I'm a mom. I have a house, a dog. What else do I have? I don't have any chickens. But honestly, aside from that, I literally am juggling about 7,000 things on my plate a day. My time is very, very valuable to me. So if you get some of it, know that it's on purpose. I do not give people, ooh, I like that. I do not give people my time unless it is intentional. Oh, that so resonates, right? I do not give people my time unless it is intentional. Okay. So, time is an investment. Relationships that truly matter is where you want to put your time, right? Prioritizing your time wisely. Let's look at 8. Clear expectations. This is important. Boundaries. They're a heartfelt way of letting others understand your expectations. How many of us get into relationships and then we start saying, I don't like that my girlfriend, boyfriend, wife, husband, child, blah, 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 is um, leaving the milk out on the counter. And then a lot of times I'll be like, so do they know that that bothers you? No, they should just know. I mean, duh, right? I remember once I got this call when I was a dispatcher. A lady called and she was just livid because this neighbor kept parking on the sidewalk and it was making her angry. And she was so mad and she wanted the cops to come and give this guy a ticket. And I said, so have you told the neighbor that you prefer for them to not park right there? No. Okay, well, you know, I try to not hold people up to expectations that I haven't told them, right? It's really not a good place to be, but people are not really great at saying, like, hey, I don't like this. I don't like it when you leave the toilet seat up. But no, you just run around with all this like resentment and you're peeved at people. And, I know because I'm just saying it from a female perspective. I know because I hear lots of guys say, like, I don't even know what's wrong with my girlfriend, wife, mom, because I can just tell that she's angry, but she won't tell me. And when I'm like, what's wrong? Nothing. Guys, that's not setting expectations. That's not good. So, use this to set clear expectations. I know for myself, because of my human design, I'm designed to be very black and white, which a lot of times makes people think that I'm really mean because I will just tell you how it is. I'm not mean. I just don't beat around the bush. I find it to just be easier to just tell you. And so, no guessing games. All right, let's look at 9 and 10. And then we're getting so close to do our little elf session. Okay, no apologies needed. Please don't apologize because guess why? If you apologize for your boundary, you're ingraining with your subconscious that boundaries are negative, right? Let me say that again for the people in the back. Do not apologize for setting boundaries because it aligns with yourself that there's something wrong. You did something wrong by setting a boundary. See how crazy that is? Like you're getting into a loop. You deserve to feel safe. You deserve to be respected. So stand firm. Let your boundaries be a reflection of your self respect. Hey, also, just to remind you, if you hopped on here late and you want a copy of this, all you have to do is send me an email, amy@blockedemotions.com, or you can message me on whatever platform you're on. I'm not hard to find, and I will send you this PDF file. Okay, last one, honoring your authentic self. Hala, every time you set a boundary, you're honoring who you really are. You're declaring that your needs are valid and you're deserving of intention. Embracing this is very empowering. You will see in my training and everything I do, because I used to be this type of person that I was like, if I focus on myself, I have an ego and I'm being very self centered. When I realize when I focus on myself and I'm the one responsible for my happiness, that means that I'm not raging around my house. Like my dog decided to run away today. Anyone that lives in my neighborhood saw me running, snow outside, 40 degrees or below. I think it was like 37 degrees. I was in flip flops. I was working out. So I was in some pretty short shorts. I was running through my neighborhood trying to get my dog. The old me would have come back to my house and been a raging psychopath, ripping into everyone, having my entire day be ruined, being pissed off, taking it out on everyone else. Okay. Because I wasn't honoring my authentic self and I wasn't loving who I was because I thought that was selfish. And so now I am 100% admit all day, I put myself before everyone else. I do. Because when I put myself before everyone else, I have a million times more of me to give. When I put everyone else ahead of me, it seems like I'm serving everyone and doing everyone a favor, but I'm really not. And I know this for a fact because I've lived both, right? See the fence here? I've been on both sides of this fence. So honoring your authentic self, and it comes back to also, you're going to see in a second, we're going to dive into a gate energy of human design. When you understand your human design, you understand how you work down to the beautiful intrinsic detail. And if you're like, I don't know what human design is, well, cool. I have a course for that too. And you know what? If you message me, I'll give it to you for like a super great beta price. But aligning with yourself and understanding, like some of us are set with our willpower, some of us absorb the willpower of other people. What if you realize that? What if you realize, guess what? My willpower just isn't that great. But I know that. So I find people that have great willpower because when I'm around them, I absorb the energy of their will center. And guess what? It makes it so I have the energy to get things done instead of just sitting there beating yourself up because you're like, I never get anything done that I say that I'm going to do. There's a reason. There's a reason. And it's not about beating yourself up and coming out of your comfort zone and all that stuff that everyone's always, right? That's one thing about like other coaches is it's a set program, right? Like you just need to get out of your comfort zone. And when you do that, then your life will be grand. No, you need to understand and align back to who you really are. You've been pulled in so many directions and you are so far away from being the person that God, the divine, whoever that is for you, designed you to be, that you are an unhappy, miserable mess. You're stressed out of your mind. And it's literally just because you are living so far outside of yourself. When you watch my little videos that I put up, like my shorts of us like chasing the dog, being crazy, I used to not be like that until I found and connected back to who I really am. And now I will wear these PJ pants in Walmart with my socks and I don't care because I'm honoring my authentic self and that's what makes me happy. Okay. And in doing so, I have so much more to give. Okay. Here's a couple of little things I added. Well, Amy, that's great. How do I say no though? Because I feel so mean when I say no. Well, there are lots of different little ways. I gave you three because I like threes. How to say no. I won't be able to, but thank you for understanding. Ooh, doesn't that sound great? I won't be able to, but thank you for understanding. Really? Does that give you any, you're just like, okay, thanks, right? You're not being defensive. You're not just like, also, because here's what saying no does not mean jumping into victim mode. Okay. We all are freaking tired. We all have a million things to do. Okay. So being like, I can't because I'm so tired and my fridge is broken, my kids are screaming and my dog's running away. No one wants to hear that, honestly, right? We have words for those types of people. No one wants to hear that. But if I say I won't be able to, but thank you for understanding, no one's really going to argue with you. Or this is another one. Also, I haven't edited this. So if you see some typos, just know I was trying to get this done for you before I went live. I can't, but I would happy to XYZ. So let me give you an example of this one. Let's say somebody comes to you and is like, hey, can you make 13 apple pies for the PTO? And you're like, I can't. Okay. Or like you see my rolls that I put all the time, like my rolls that I make. Somebody asked me to make them for a party. They're really so easy to make. But if I couldn't, or I didn't want to, or whateverness. And also just, you know what? Not wanting to is an okay boundary. Sometimes we're like, well, just because I don't want to isn't a really good boundary. Yeah, it is. It is. You don't need to live your life doing things you don't want to do. Okay. Well, there are some aspects to that can be argued, but for the most part. So let's say someone's like, "Hey, Amy, will you make 85 sugar cookies for our party?" Let's say I make sugar cookies and I also make chocolate Rolo cookies. Okay. And sugar cookies take a lot longer to make than chocolate Rolo cookies. So I could see but I can't make sugar cookies, but I'd be happy to make chocolate Rolo cookies. See that? The XYZ, which is XYX in here, is being on your terms. So pick something. If you want to be helpful, you don't want to make mashed potatoes and gravy, but you're so totally aligned to make pasta salad, then be like, "Hey, I can't make the mashed potatoes and gravy, but I'd be happy to make the pasta salad." If you need to, just replace it. Okay. What about when you're in a relationship with someone? Like, these are the hardest, right? Because guilty as charged. I know. This is something that I have to work on a lot. Do not get defensive. Everyone isn't trying to kill you. Because that's where I go, right? From my childhood, from my previous relationships. My mom used to say, "Girl, you get armored up." Like, the moment I feel like I'm being attacked by someone's tearing me down, putting me down, belittling me, I'm full blown armor with a sword, right? So that can be really difficult and not super helpful in relationships when I feel like I'm being attacked when I'm really not. And that's not the intention of the other person. So these ones are a little more difficult, in my opinion. I appreciate you in our relationship, and it's critical for me to set this boundary for both of us. Doesn't that sound really nice? Hey, I care about you. I care about you, and I want to be in this relationship with you. So this boundary that I'm setting, it's for us because I want to make us work. Nice, right? Isn't that beautiful? Okay. So there you go. You can't really see it, but the bottom says healthy boundaries enhance the right connections while creating distance for those not serving your highest divine good. Guess what? Boundaries help you release the chains to people that are not helping you. Oh, righty then. Amen to that. Guess what we're going to do now? We're going to do an elf session. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to change this screen a little bit. I'm going to turn off myself. Actually, one second. Takes some navigation. So we want to share my document. And I need to be able to have access to my other parts of my thing. So, okay. I actually think it might be better to do this. Doesn't really matter. Nope. Those are both the same. Okay. We're just going to keep it. So you don't really need to see this in like lots of detail, but I'm going to show you how cool this is. Okay. So we're shifting gears. We're talking about ELV, which stands for Elevate Life Vibration. And the reason that I have my camera disabled is because I realized when I was doing sessions and I was recording them, I make some really interesting faces when I am channeling. And so watching yourself make some really weird, interesting faces is not really that fun. Okay. So we're not going to watch me make some weird faces, but here we go. So Elevate Life Vibration is what we're going to be doing is we're going to be diving into looking at a specific client that I have. So this is a client, she's 46. Now, I just did a cool little video of it, and we'll just talk quick. Amy, how does this work? Because my client is not with me. Okay. Now, I will tell you what, when I first started doing this, I was like, say what now? This is the one thing that probably I cognitively had to really align myself with was how exactly is this working? Okay. So lots of science behind this, gathered lots of data. I'm also going to do some YouTube videos on this. Energy has no boundaries. Scientifically proven. Group consciousness energy, I love. Now I'm not going to remember what it's called. Something, heart something. Okay. But there's actually a group that studies group consciousness energy, and it's amazing. They get people together in groups all over the country, and they actually measure the energy of people coming together with one specific intention, and they can see a change in energy It is absolutely amazing. So you'll see me talk about group consciousness energy. Guess what? If you're sitting there and you're like, this is such crap, cool. I just want you to say, I just want to say something to you. I've been in that position before. It took the passing away and being widowed of my boy's dad and the death of my daughter for me to get out of that conscious space where I was like, this is all hocus pocus crap. Once I did that and I got past my cognitive mind and realized that bodies really are energy and there is this beautiful, amazing stuff going on, and I saw it happening for my clients, I was like, wow, I feel bad for myself that I was so stuck in this past conditioned state that I couldn't allow myself to see something so amazing happening right before my eyes. Okay. And then you get into the space if you're like, oh, because you're taught this stuff is not of Christ. It's not God, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to say this right now. For those of you that are Christians and believe in Jesus Christ, greatest healer of all times. That's how he heals people. It's energy. Okay. So I personally believe that this is a divine gift that we all have. And so there are those of us here helping the rest of you to connect with that gift because your body is capable of healing. Your body is capable of being happy. All right. It's just this beautiful thing. Okay. So let's go back. That was my little tangent. Client, female, age 46. So here's her issue. She feels really overwhelmed with the time of year. Keeping personal boundaries feels like I get caught up in people pleasing and I end up miserable, making everyone else happy. Oh, hello, anyone else? And so I always ask, Kate, if there's specific issues that you want us to focus on during the session, you can tell me. You don't have to tell me anything. The subconscious is there. I find that if you do tell me your issues, sometimes it opens things up a little bit more, but you don't have to. And then I also will ask you, like, okay, do you have any specific pain going on? Because guess what? All of these issues that she's got going on, they're compressing with other issues that she's had during her life, and it's potentially creating pain. So things add on to each other. So let's say that, think about this, okay? Those of you that have been birthed, all of you, right? But there's probably a handful of you in this video that have either given birth or watched birth happen. This is a dramatically traumatizing event for all those involved: mom, baby, people in the room, doctors, dads, whoever it may be, right? There's a lot going on. I want you to take just 1 second and think about the physical trauma going on in a mother's body, but also in the baby. That baby and all that's happening to it as it's being passed through the birth canal, the hormones that are going on, the fact of the baby coming from a really warm space out into this cold air. Okay, it's traumatic. Things like that. And even before that, let's say when you're in your mother's womb, the things that she's eating, the emotion she's feeling, you guys, from the moment you're conceived, even before then, because we have DNA adding into stuff, right? Human design is the process of your DNA plus planetary energies and everything else that's going on that makes the blueprint of who you are. I want to say, like, you don't have a stand a chance from the moment that you're conceived, because even before then, you're carrying around DNA. But guess what? The beautiful part is that using processes like this is my methodology. There's millions of them. This is just the one that resonates for me and that I found the most things with, which you'll see in a second. You guys don't have to live like this, but you're carrying traumas from the moment you're born. And then let's say when you're 2, you burn your hand on the stove. And when you're 3, a dog bites you. And when you're 4, you're in a car accident. When you're 5, a kid at school starts telling you that you have big ears. And then when you're 12, you're being teased because you're fat. And when you're 13, you decide to, inhale some paint. And then when you're 16, right? Like, you're thinking of all these things. You're sexually molested. You're in a relationship with someone that lies to you. Your parent beats the crap out of you. All of these things start to create problems that you cannot see, that your subconscious and your body are holding on to. So, okay, let's say that you just happen to make it through all that. Like, you're pretty resilient. I would say, for one, like, I made it through life. I was pretty resilient. I had a lot of crap happen to me. And then I magically became a pilot one day, right? But that's because my human design is to be very resilient. But then let's say one day Okay. So then, for those of you that don't know my story, so I become a pilot in the Air Force. Then my boy's dad ends up taking his life. So I'm widowed when I'm like 35 or something. And then I end up getting remarried. Not a great situation. We're just not a good energy match. Lots of crazy crap going on there. We end up having a daughter, and she ends up dying when she's 26 days old. Like, dies literally while I'm holding her. That's a lot of stuff to go through, not to mention like all the crap that I dealt with as a kid growing up, but it was my daughter's death that sent me over the edge. So those things all build up, right? So then at some point, I'm suddenly having like health problems. And it has nothing to do with anything that happened right then in that moment. It has to do with all of the crap that's in my body that I've been carrying around for so long. It just takes one little tiny thing. Like, you can be carrying around something in your knee and drink an energy drink, and the red dye in the energy drink is going to blow up the 7 years of crap that's hanging on in your knee. And suddenly you're like, I need knee surgery, and you don't know why. Okay. This is the beautiful part of this process. If I go into the doctor's office, now I'm not telling you that I'm healing you, because I'm not. Is what's happening is we're aligning your subconscious to find the things that need to be released so your body can get back into a balanced state. I'm just the facilitator. I'm the happy helper helping you get back to your space. But if you go into a doctor and you're like, my knee is killing me, what's the doctor going to do? It's going to x-ray your knee. And I'm not saying that there's not beautiful things from technologies and things like that. And there's a time and place for that, right? If you were in a car accident and you were bleeding all over the road, I'm not going to show up and be like, hello, let me do an ELF session on you. I can make you all better. No, 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 no. Stitches have a purpose in that moment. I'm just telling you that this process works beautifully when you really can't figure out what's going on. Okay. So anything can create and cause anything. So we're going to dive into this. I'm going to show you, and you're going to hear me typing. And I'm going to show you how this works. Now, so what you can't see is that off into my other screen, I have an awesome little document that I've put together. It's like 7 million pages long. And if you've ever seen someone muscle test, it's a really cool thing where you can ask the subconscious yes or no questions. But because I've done this for so long, I just can see it or sense it. Or so I'm just going to show you how this works. So when I do a session with my client, I really literally am going to do this exactly like that. So I'm just going to take a minute. This is just to align myself also, because I've been talking a million miles an hour. Now I can't see your comments anymore. So just bear with me if you say something, because I need to be able to access my other documents. But we just, with gratitude, make this connection with intention to my clients. So, and you know what you can also do if you want, you can intentionally connect as well, just so you can receive some of this amazing energy that we're giving off. So there's lots of different ways. Like I said, I do teach a course on this, but we're literally looking for a statement here. So I can muscle test through statements, or I can just see the statement. A lot of times, also, I'll just do energy that is creating. This is a good one. Creating a current symptom, because this way, I'm allowing the subconscious to really give me a really broad thing. I'm not even asking for what symptom it is. Okay. And also, when you do sessions with me, so I do these remotely. You send me your issues, I connect with you, do this beautiful thing, and then I'll do this and send you the notes. So energy that's creating a current system, I can tell right now this is something to do with the lymphatic system. So I already have that in my head. And also, the cool thing is, let's say that you can have something going on in your knee that is connected to something that doesn't make any sense at all. That's why this is so amazing. So I can already tell that we have an issue with the splenic nerve plexus. Also, I am not a medical practitioner, so I always tell people, like, I didn't mean to type my little crew thing. I always tell people, like, I can't say half of the stuff that I can see. Okay. So then I just say, okay, so there's some energy creating a current symptom in the splenic nerve plexus. Yes. Is there anything else specific in this area that I can address with this specific imbalance and couple of other things that are popping up. I can see spleen center. I do this a little different than some other practitioners if you've done like a body code or emotion code session, because this is what works best for me. And the thing of it is, when it comes to energy work, perception is everything. If you think it works, it works. If you don't think it works, if you don't think it works, if you don't think it works, it doesn't. All right. So now I'm seeing some of the negative energy that's attached to this. So the negative energies are the underlying reasons that this person is having an issue. Okay. So there's some inner negative self-talk going on. Now, I need to ask myself, is this in my list or is this something that I haven't seen before? It's why do I always ruin everything? So, and my client is saying, so I also have my client giving me messaging me. So does that make sense to you? I have that on here just because it's cool to ask. Yes. Yes. Okay. Also, there's this an event. So it was a holiday. I can see this and she'll tell me. I can see a holiday party where you felt responsible for creating unintentional chaos. So I'm assuming that there must have been a fight or something. Can't spell chaos. So let's see what she says. Oh, I'll also tell you. She'll tell you for sure. I don't always test for the age. Sometimes it's just cool. Yep, 37-ish. Let me see what she says. Yep. She's a family holiday party for Christmas, and there was a massive chaotic breakdown. So also I can see you have an energy cord, some resentment with a female. Let's see what she says about that. Oh, feels like a sister or a mom. So those are some specifics that I can always like dive into. Sometimes like a female, sister, mom, she says it's a sister. Okay, so I just want to go back and show you like how you can see sometimes this builds like a really cool, beautiful picture, and sometimes it doesn't make any sense. And so the cool thing about it is like when it's not making any sense, um, it's still making sense to your subconscious, right? Your subconscious is giving you what is helping us align with what needs to be balanced. So I'm going to see, are there any other negative energies? Now, this is the way my brain works when I do these. You'll see a lot of other practitioners will go in like a specific order. My brain doesn't work like that. When I teach you how to do this, I teach you to do it in a specific order. And that's just to help you until you feel comfortable. If you get to a position where you're just seeing things, they don't have to be in a specific order. Okay, so we have some inner child energy from and so inner child just means that like this is that joyful, playful part of you that is really as an adult sometimes hard to find again. So I tell people like think about like back when you're 4 ish and you have like no cares in the world. Like you're running around with the superhero cape, jumping off the couch. You don't care how you're dressed. You could care less that you have chocolate on your face. Like nobody has beat that part of you out yet. That's where these like inner child levels happen. And so we're just going back to this space to help clear your inner child and bring that back to you. So inner child energy from an emotionally unavailable parent. And then also I can see some physical trauma energy. Honestly, sometimes I can see these really as being slapped in the face. So let's see what she says. I'm going to keep going. So kind of getting short on time. So I'm just going to start going into my And I can tell it starts with a C. Let's see. Let's actually go find it. So I have a Google document with all of these in it. So I just go to my heavy metal section. I can tell it starts with a C, but I'm not sure which one it is. I'll just go through them. Copper, no. Chromium, no. Cadmium. It's a cadmium type. So heavy metal toxin. We're going to get rid of that. I can also see what's called a polarity pair. Left adrenal, right adrenal. So what is a polarity pair? This is simply a spot on the body. The body loves homeostasis. So what happens is if one spot on the body goes super acidic or super alkaline, then an opposite spot on the body will go into that opposite to create an equilibrium of the pH. And so these places can be like anywhere. You could have like the left toe and your inner ear. It doesn't really matter. It's just how the body works. So we're going to magnetically balance the left adrenal and the right adrenal. This is a good one. I can see. I love entity attachments, don't you? So let's talk about what that is, because you go into Harry Potterville. Entity attachment does not mean that you have some like crazy, creepy Harry Potter dude flying around you, sucking out your energy. And entity attachments can happen from lots of places. All they want you to just know it's just an imbalanced energy source, and they come from all sorts of things. This is what we call a stuck soul. So it just simply means that it's some energy from someone it's actually ancestral. So it's not even a bad person or a bad energy. It's ancestral, dad side back 37 generations. This person is stuck because why? They have a blocked emotion of some sorrow. Okay, so this just tells me that, and I'm going to let her answer, but she potentially, because you have an energy attachment to stuck soul, ancestral, dad side back, 37 generations, I can see it even more. It's a blocked emotion, sorrow. This is from a female. So see, sometimes I can see a lot. This is a female that lost multiple children. Just lets us some sorrow, okay? So we can just help that stuck soul. We can help release this potentially for my client. This just means that she sometimes can feel sorrow for no reason, especially when it comes around like parenting or mothering things. She just may feel some sorrow around her kiddos, and it's not explainable. And this is why. Okay, it's just from sorrow of loss of a children. Okay, let's see. So now I just ask, is there anything else going on with this specific energy group that we need to release today? And I'm getting a no. So this is what your notes look like. I did this pretty quickly, but what happens is then we just go through and we energetically clear these. So you'll see in your notes, they'll look like this. So we clear negatives, and we balance certain places like this. We just do this with intention through the subconscious. We release, we balance, we release, we balance, we release, we balance. And then is what will happen is, because, right, this always becomes, I'm going to come back into here. This always becomes a question. I'm going to turn my camera back on. So just 1 second. It gives me a minute to Oh, yes. Look, see, I get scared because I'm like, what if I pop back on and then I'm making weird faces? Okay, let me move this back. All right, so I know that was a lot, right? You're probably like, what just now? That is called ELV, and it is like the most amazing thing ever. And another thing that can happen with these is, so let's I can continue doing this session on my client, but I'm going to tell you already, I can see she has some energy. I'm trying to look at when it's really small, trapped in gate 6. So energy trapped in gate 6 goes to our human design. And so I'm going to see some energy in there from something to do with not being able to keep boundaries, some events in time where she's been rewarded for something that was conflicting, confusion. So rewarded, see, my face goes weird. I'm making weird faces. Rewarded for something that was confusing. So usually that means, think about ones like you think you didn't do something right, but then you get rewarded for it because and then you're like, wait, that's confusing. So it's what we call a reward conflict, um, and that is not what I wanted to do. Oh, yes. Let me turn this off. Okay, there we go. I'm like, oh, there's too many buttons. Lots of pretty buttons. Okay, so that is how the energy session works. Now, for those of you that are like, this was a lot of stuff, it's very overwhelming. I will tell you, I'm going to do, like I said, I'll do lives every Monday at 5:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. I do have lots of options for you if you're like, this is resonating, I want to dive in more with it. I do personal client sessions. So doing a whole session, you'll see about 8 of these different things that are included. When I send you a session, it takes me about an hour and I usually end up with about 8 of them. So you'll see a whole bunch of them. Releasing, balancing, clearing things away, negative core beliefs, toxic phrases, trapped emotions, all kinds of stuff that are connected to issues that you're potentially having. Now, human design is also another thing that I do. Human design readings. Those just help you align with your authentic self, because if you clear these things away, but then you keep doing things that are not aligned with who you really are, guess what? You just keep bringing things back to what we clear away doesn't come back, but you can create new ones, right? So like, let's say that I yelled at my neighbor yesterday and I cleared that away. Well, if I go out and I yell at my neighbor again tomorrow, I can create the same type of a thing. So understanding your human design is like making soup. It allows you to understand the intrinsics of your soul down to the level of herbs and spices. And when you can do that, you know why you're acting the way you're acting, and just giving yourself that acknowledgement and that ability to recognize why you're doing what you're doing, it really helps you to stop doing it, right? So I know that I'm a manifesting generator. So when I go to make decisions, I know the best way for me to make a decision so I don't make rash decisions, because that's not in alignment with who I am. So I have a specific amount of time. I know the process for making a decision. That way, when I make a decision, I'm 100% aligned, because I know how to make a decision correctly for my design. So those are some of the things that I have courses on, so that you can, like, human design, you can dive in, and then you can learn about yourself at your own pace. So, because it is diving into energy work is a lot of stuff to take in, but once you like get hooked into it, it literally changes your life and is so amazing. Okay, so I went a little over. I just want you guys to know I appreciate you being on here. I'm sending you out so much love. Like I said, if you want that PDF file of wherever it went, this awesome self-sabotage antidote, change your perspective around your boundaries, I will send it to you as a PDF. Just send me your email, amy@blockedemotions.com, or send me a message, you guys. I'm sending you lots of love. Bless be. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your night, and I will see you next